friends, Megan Elizabeth from ByMeganElizabeth.com, founder creator of She Makes Club, doing a little bit of Bible art journaling with you today. Inside She Makes Live last Friday night, I talked a lot about Romans 5, and I really wanted to do a little journal art page pertaining to Romans 5, where it really does talk about having hope by faith through grace. And it's a really beautiful passage that I really wanted to highlight, and it's been on my mind and heart a lot this month of August 2023. So I just am gathering kind of some of my supplies together, kind of figuring out what I want to use and work with and have fun creating alongside. And one of the things that I'm going to be using is a beautiful new stamp set from Close to My Heart. And I'm also, whenever I do my Bible art journaling, I prep my pages with this Art Basics Gesso in clear. I've used a lot of different things, and I've had a lot of fun kind of playing with different mediums, from acrylic paint to this clear gesso to Mod Podge. And I really find that when I do the thin coat of this gesso on all of the different Bible art journal pages that I do, whether it's in this Traveler's New Testament Bible or in my spiral bound, this has been one of the best things for being able to still blend inks together, like my Distress Oxide inks and other things. So I just place a piece of scrap paper down between my pages and layer it on really thin, just as thin as I can get it, with either a paintbrush or a sponge brush, that's the word, and use my heat gun to dry it and set it. And then I'm able to Distress Oxide or watercolor paint or do so many different things with it. This is some masking tape from Close to My Heart that I'm folding and placing in the crease so it doesn't go to the left side of the page, but it gives me a little bit of a border, and I'm able to create and utilize that for a little bit of a masking. Right now, I'm using the Tattered Rose Distress Oxide all over the left and upper portion of the page, and we're going to blend in some different colors. And don't be afraid of this with Bible art journaling. I know it can be a little bit intimidating at first, like to trust the process, or am I going to mess it up? There really isn't much that you can do to not reverse a mistake. And you're going to see several mistakes that I made in here, like the actual stamp that I'm using, skipping, and how I kind of saved it and made it work. So I just want you to have that freedom. So right now I'm layering in Picked Raspberry on the right side, and then I used Rustic Wilderness on the bottom to kind of give myself like a grass and sunset kind of scene or look. I didn't want too much of the pink to overtake what I was doing, and I'm using this stamp early, and I hope I don't get in trouble. But I love this girl. I love her. She's holding her coffee cup. I was going to use Archival Black, but I decided to grab the VersaFine for this. VersaFine works really well on top of Distress Oxide. And watch what happens. I skipped it. I tried to move it and it slid, and oops. You can see it's an oops, but we're going to run with it. It's a little blurred, but we're going to color her in and see how she turns out. Here's how I would save it if she didn't turn out once I colored her in. I would go back over the page with some white acrylic paint and basically just go over the whole thing once it's dry and start over. It's totally easy and something you can do. But instead, right now, I'm grabbing these metallic highlighters from Faber-Castell. They are absolutely beautiful. I love the metallics, and they're highlighters, but they work really well for coloring in your VersaFine stamps, I have found. So that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of like coloring it in a little bit. I made a little bleed. I'm just going to grab the brush and kind of go back over it. This is actually a metallic paint marker from Close to My Heart actually carries them, but they're from Crafter's Companion. And I have them in silver, gold, and bronze, and I absolutely love them. I use them a ton in my Bible art journaling. There has been well over 80 pages that I have done on my own that I have not either recorded or shared at this point. I have plans for a launch with Connecting to Restore to share more of these videos, but we haven't done it all the way through yet. Now I'm using one of the bronze colors to color in her hair and give her shimmery hair, and I'm kind of covering up the mistakes, like her hair is almost going over. So I'm using the bronze and then doing some highlights with the gold. And again, they're Spectrum Noir by Crafter's Companion metallic paint markers. Again, they're available through Close to My Heart. I can leave a link in the description for you. And then I went in with a fine point black pen and kind of re-highlighted some of those areas that smudged in black. So it just gave a little bit more definition instead of having that skip mark go across. It did that. And then I'm using some dashes and little like scribbles to give some texture in that grass area. And yes, I touched my fingers to that green before it totally dried, which you can see. So just go back in, you can blend it with the brush. It gives it some dimension, but then you can also fade it away. So if you don't want that to happen, again, mistake made, just use a piece of paper to kind of hide and cover that. You can use a Post-it note, and it's really that simple and easy to be able to either blend back out or not have happen at all. And I want to add a little bit more of that fresh pink picked raspberry color just to give a little bit more highlight and go around with that. I am going to clean off the stamp and place it back away, but I also want to utilize this dainty script font that is new as well. It's beautiful. It is so freaking beautiful. I'm so excited about utilizing this going forward. I've already used it like 4 or 5 times on pages, and I'm going to just spell out the word hope, and then again, we're gonna hide some mistakes as we go along. So I'm using the VersaFine to slightly overlay, and utilize this dainty script to spell out the word hope, because my handwriting isn't the greatest. I use a lot of my own handwriting in Bible art journaling because, again, I'm always a big one for using your handwriting to tell your story. There's nothing more original to you than your handwriting. And sometimes that's really beautiful, but sometimes you really don't want your handwriting to take away from the rest of the page. And that's kind of what I had happen here. So I went in and wrote a little journal art thing. I was trying to actually decide if I wanted to use another stamp or two. Ultimately decided against that, by the way. But I went in and decided to utilize my own handwriting and really did not like the way that it looked at all. So I grabbed my MakeID label printer and I decided to cover it up with that. There are so many ways to cover up mistakes and things that happen when you're Bible art journaling, more than any other form of crafting I have found. And I want to talk more about different ways to hide and cover mistakes or to redo things if they totally flubber on you. But really, there's a lot of ways to do it. I am highlighting Romans 5 and I am highlighting verses 1 through 10 because I think that they are really beautiful and important to highlight. And you can see I decided to write on here. Absolutely did not like it at all. And that's, that's what happened. I am going to add in the gold tape, and this is a thermal tape, so this needs to be kept from like extreme heat or extreme temperatures to keep it lasting. I keep all of my Bibles and my scrapbooks when I use this in a temperature controlled room in my office or in the living room, so I don't worry about it too much. But if it's something that is of concern to you, be aware if you decide to use something like this in your junk journaling or Bible art journaling or scrapbook pages, with the thermal tapes, they're not necessarily as archival safe or ready. But I'm not too worried about it. So I am putting my little journal prompt in there and then doing a second strip, and I will cut these to go over top of my little mistake. And I even cut little like flags or tags into it. You can cut different angles and triangles to make the shape really fit and look like a completed embellishment that is completely unique to your page or your project. And I absolutely love this gold tape. I'm so obsessed with gold metallic stuff when it comes to working with creative stuff when it comes to my office when it comes to my scrapbooking pages. There's something about gold metallic that I've loved for years, and I still do to this day. So I have a lot of gold metallic washi tapes and things like that. And I was able to kind of reposition this to really cover my mistake. I went back over it with the brush and finished it off, and you can just really see struggling produces character, character produces hope. Hope does not bring you to shame, but boast in the hope of the Lord Jesus Christ and the grace that we have in him. So I really, really love this passage, and I hope that it brings you a little bit of joy and encouragement. You can check us out inside She Makes Club, where we talked more about this during our live creative workshop, and I even read the passage, and it was just something we prompted and felt great to do. So I hope that you enjoy the moments, you enjoyed this video, and that I'll see you again soon at By Megan Elizabeth and She Makes Club. Bye-bye.